Good morning, everybody. We are back here for another week in markets. Welcome to the pre-market prep for April 24th, 2023. This being our daily session where we go over any and all information necessary to keeping you consistently profitable here across these crazy markets. I'm your host, Adam Hahn, stock options expert, as well as expert market strategist. And we're here to dive into everything for not only today, but this week when it comes to establishing a game plan, right? Making sure that we are on the right side of things that occur in markets this week. Monday is the most important session that we have. Can we lock in camera? There we go. Monday is the most important session that we have. Why? Because we lay out the groundwork for the week ahead. We outline our expectations for the week ahead, big events, right? And that is what shapes our game plan to start the week. It starts right here today, this morning, right? So Monday morning being here is the most important factor in laying out your game plan for the week, because you take in combination the charts, the news that we have lined up for the week, and that gives you a rough map, right? A rough path of how we are likely to move this week. Now, to the untrained eye, doesn't know, right? But when you're tuning in and you're being involved in a community that has thousands of hours of experience here dealing with markets, then yes, it can help you lay out that, crystal ball roadmap for the week, to make sure that you're aware of any pitfalls, curves, turns, swerves that you need to make in order to stay profitable here, because we know things can get crazy, right? But we want to make sure that regardless of how crazy they get, we're moving proactively, right? Preemptively to be on the right side of things. And that's really all that you can do, right? So make sure that you are putting your ones in the chat, whether you're watching live or via replay, because we're trying to get 1% better. That's all, 1% by the end of this session. That is the goal, right? And then we move forward, and each and every day, if we accomplish that, we end up getting hundreds of percent better each year, thousands as years pass on, and suddenly we've closed the gap between who we are and who we always wanted to be, which is what we're trying to do here each and every day. So lock in, and we'll get ready to dive in here as we first start off with the week ahead and then go into our Monday specific news. So the earnings calendar is loaded this week with heavyweights reporting in every sector. All told, about 35% of the companies in the S&P 500 will spill numbers this week. Some of the key reports include updates from Credit Suisse, ticker CS, Coca-Cola, ticker KO, Microsoft, ticker MSFT, Alphabet, ticker GOOG and GOOGL, Altria, ticker MO, and Amazon, ticker AMZN. So we've got a number of big companies reporting. We've got banking sector, consumer defensive, technology, right? We've got a lot of different sectors reporting and a bunch of big name tech companies, right? While the earnings season is off to a relatively solid start, concerns over the impact of inflation, high interest rates, and a potential U.S. recession are still very much in the mix. Economic releases of note in the week ahead include consumer confidence and new home sales on April 25th, which is tomorrow, durable goods orders on April 26th, and the closely watched employment cost index on April 28th. Federal Reserve members will be out on the speaking circuit on Monday before the blackout period begins, in advance of the FOMC meeting on May 2nd through the 3rd. On the political front, the House may vote on a bill that would raise the U.S. debt limit for about a year and cut federal spending. Overall, quick heads up, right, while we're here, I have a funeral to attend on Friday, so I am not sure if I'll be able to do the pre-market prep on Friday. That's just a heads up so everybody knows. I also don't know if I will be able to trade Friday because of that. That's like around noon, and, I'll be with family and everything like that. So, yeah, just to heads up. And then May, let me see what date I don't have my phone with me, but May also I'll be in Orlando beginning of May. So just heads up, not this week, but next week, I'm pretty sure Monday, Tuesday, I won't be here. So I'll be traveling. For you guys who, are aware or aren't aware, but the clothing line Black Wealth, right, who I helped co-found, was invited to, participate as one of the brands that's allowed to vend, hand selected to vend at the TD Jakes Good Soil Conference. So a huge conference. I'm very, very excited to be in attendance, honored to be selected, but I'll be down there, on the front lines, at the conference on the ground. So Monday, Tuesday of next week, I will likely not be here. So Friday, Monday, Tuesday, busy time for me between funeral and then being out at this conference. So we'll kind of see, how my schedule shakes out, but that's just a heads up on that front, that toward the end of this week and then beginning of next week. I might not be here, so it'll be on you guys to watch this newsletter, right? Read it, break it down, and see how you're going to execute moving forward. From that, let's also check here the economic calendar for this week, because we want to double check them, because they have left things out before. Now it's today, the 24th. So nothing scheduled today in terms of major economic reports and Fed speakers, which is nice. Tuesday, April 25th. New home sales, consumer confidence at 10 a.m. That could be something that ends up, affecting price action there. Consumer confidence at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So that's something to, keep on the calendar. Make sure that you have in the back of your head. Wednesday, but again, it's not huge like market making news. Wednesday, nothing really super important. Thursday, we get GDP data at 8:30 a.m., right? So things really pick up Thursday. Thursday, we get GDP numbers and we get initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. So Thursday is when we really get the important data. So make sure, that you kind of set a reminder for whatever time you need. Let's say, Alexa, remind me on Wednesday at 3 p.m. that we get GDP and jobless claims data Thursday morning.
Okay, I'll remind you Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Awesome. There we go. And now you don't get caught off guard, right? 3 p.m. headed into not happy hour, headed into power hour of Thursday. You'll know, that last hour of the day. Okay, we've got data coming out tomorrow morning. That way I don't forget anything that I'm swinging. I'm willing to swing through that data. And that way it doesn't sneak up on you, right? And you wake up and you're like, what happened to the market, right? You had a game plan, something else happened. It's the data that dropped. Then Friday, let's see, we get PCE data. So PCE index, core PCE index. So we get inflation data. So Thursday and Friday are going to be the big days for data. Right? Thursday, Friday, we've got a number of big pieces of data coming in this week, right? But again, it's end of the week. So Thursday, Friday, we get PCE data, we get GDP data, we get jobless claims data. So those are really the big days, Thursday and Friday, where we have, important information coming in. Might ask her again. Alexa, remind me at 3 p.m. on Thursday that we have inflation data Friday morning.
Okay, I'll remind you Thursday at 3 p.m.
Okay, nice, awesome, boom. Now we got all our reminders lined up, and that way you guys can see me. This is what I do, right? This is literally live. This is Coco. That's awesome. I'll be there. Hey, that's awesome. Super, super, super cool. We definitely have to link up in Orlando. I'll be there. We're transporting, so we're gonna ship some of our product. We're also gonna drive some down there. So I'll be on the road trip train, right, driving down there. But it'll be awesome. Yes, we have to link up underneath that beautiful Florida sun. It'll be my first time, so I don't know if you've been before, but I'm super, super excited. It should be amazing. Big TD Jakes fan. Also a fan of a number of people that will be speaking there. So it should be a super awesome and rewarding experience. Let me see here. So in terms of data, though, right, getting back into our data stuff that we got going on here, Thursday, Friday, big data days. Make sure that if you don't remember things, like sometimes I don't remember things, that it's in your calendar or your voice assistant knows, right? I tend to make sure that I know what my shortcomings are, so that I just make moves in order to, kind of, I don't know, compensate. That's the word I'm looking for. Compensate for those. If you know you have a memory like a goldfish, right? Goldfish swim around the bowl and then they forgot they're in a bowl and they swim around the bowl again. They just keep swimming around the bowl, right? That's me. Make sure you put things in place. Use your calendar, use your voice assistants, right? So that you're not getting snuck up on by data. In terms of earnings and the earnings calendar, let's see. I'm just looking through all. We do get Coca-Cola today. We also, what else? What else do we get? And there will be, I'm pretty sure that they have a more detailed or a more important one. Okay, here. So the earnings spotlight. I'll just check their earnings spotlight. So Monday, April 24th, we get Coca-Cola and Credit Suisse. Those are pretty much the big ones. Tuesday, we get Microsoft, Google, Visa, UBS, PepsiCo, McDonald's, Verizon, General Electric, Chipotle, and UPS. So tomorrow we get the whole gamut, right? We get a number of household names reporting earnings. That will be very important, right? And very, very important to keep an eye on, make sure you're aware of a number of big, big, big companies that are reporting. So I'm excited about that. Microsoft will probably get some more info on OpenAI. Alphabet, will probably get more info on their AI. McDonald's has been crushing it. Just we reached 52-week highs last week. So McDonald's still crushing it, even in the midst of other companies like starting to show weakness here to start the year. Earnings spotlight on Wednesday. We've got Meta, ticker META, Boeing, ticker BA, Humana, General Dynamics, ticker GD, eBay, which is eBay, and Norfolk Southern, ticker NSC. And then Thursday, we got Amazon, MasterCard, Eli Lilly, another company that just reached new 52-week highs, Merck Pharmaceuticals, Caterpillar, AbbVie, Southwest Airlines, and Altria, whose ticker is MO. So let's see. And then Friday, we get ExxonMobil and Chevron and Colgate Palmolive. So a few energy sector tickers there. So yeah, like we said, blockbuster earnings here coming up this week, and we only get deeper into the thick of earnings season next week, where we get our Apples and all them reporting. Right, that's going to be the penultimate. That's going to be the high of earnings week, is when we get Apple reporting and all of them. But as of right now, right, some very important companies reporting. Microsoft, I mean, the way that they're tied in with OpenAI, Microsoft might end up being the most influential company in the future, right? At this point, with the lead that they have with OpenAI. So, we'll see kind of what they have to say based off of that. I'm excited. Let's now get into our Monday specific news. Awesome. Throw a 2 in the chat here if you're still with me, if you're plugged in and you're chugging along, making sure that this is outlining your game plan here for the rest of the week. Again, this should not be just me talking at you, right? This is you sitting there and saying, okay, this is how the week is shaking out, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's mostly earnings that we're getting, right? Thursday, Friday is when we also get earnings plus data, right? That's where we have data coming in. So Friday is really going to be mostly data specific. Thursday, it's going to be a mix, right? But Wednesday, Tuesday, it's going to be really earnings that are going to be the most important. And then after that, we have the data that's the most important. So this should start formulating, right, outlining that game plan here as we go into the week. This is what I need to be looking out for as I'm placing trades. Now, top news today, Bed Bath & bankruptcy. Long struggling retailer Bed Bath & Beyond has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, but said it intends to keep the chain's 480 stores open for the moment as it attempts to auction off assets through the restructuring process. That includes 360 Bed Bath shops and 120 Bye Bye Baby locations. In the meantime, the company has secured a commitment for some $240 million in debtor in possession financing from 6th Street Specialty Lending, Inc., listing $5.2 billion of debts and $4.4 billion of assets in its bankruptcy filing. Backdrop: the first Bed and Bath store opened in 1971, but the firm went public under the BBBY ticker in 1992 and eventually added Bye Bye Baby, Cost Plus, World Market, Christmas tree shops, and other chains. At its peak, the company operated more than 1,500 U.S. and Canadian locations. Missing the boat on the internet, the firm began to falter in 2019, posting its first ever annual loss, even as activist investors began a push to remove then CEO Stephen Tamares and restructure BBBY's board. Store closures accelerated in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and Bed Bath began scaling back the use of the ubiquitous 20% off coupons that had regularly been mailing to millions of U.S. households. If you fail to evolve along with the world, it will leave you by and turn you into a fossil, right? That's the overarching lesson here, right? They missed the boat on the internet. Integrate any new modern technology here. They missed the boat on social media. They missed the boat on AI, right? It does not matter how high you fly if you do not change when the world is changing, right? There are 3 in the chat if you want to change as the world changes. The world will leave you behind. You can be a multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar business. It does not matter, right? If you aren't up to date with what is going on, you can get left. So all that AI, socials, all that. If you like putting food on the table, you need to make sure you're aware of what's happening in this world. And it's as simple as that, right? Otherwise, you can get left behind. You don't want to be the person that misses the boat on this just because what you're doing now still works. What you're doing now might not work in 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, right? Just because it works right now, plenty of people before the flood happened were like, oh, it's fine. Like, I'm not worried about there's a flood coming when I'll worry about that when it happens. By the time it happens, it is too late, right? It is too late. You prepare for famine during times of benevolence, right? During times of abundance, during times in which you have a lot. You don't do that once you've already lost your job or AI has already taken your job. You learn how to use AI to make sure that you cannot be replaced, right? That is the key. And the thing is, like, you can't get scared because the world changes each and every day, right? Think about the people who sold horses and they saw cars come out, right? Think about the people who saw trains come out and they used to transport everything by horse and buggy, right? Like, there are so many different things that think about the train, the people who had trains when airplanes came out and they started using air cargo. Like, think about the milkman back when they still had milk delivered, right? There's so many different things where it's like either you evolve or you cease to exist. You've got to be committed to evolving. There's no reason to be scared because this is literally part of life, right? Part of life is things changing. We don't remain kids forever. Part of life is things changing. That is the beauty of life. You just embrace that challenge because it's an honor that you even have the chance to run this race of life, right? So as we meet challenges, that's the whole reason why we have the most developed brains of any animal in the animal kingdom, right? We were given this gift. Use it, right? Use it and make sure you have an amazing life and have fun along the way. Push yourself, step outside of your comfort zone. Otherwise, you live a boring life and you only get one, right? And we don't want boring, we want exciting. In terms here of getting back to Bed Bath & Beyond, quote, customers have trusted us through the most important milestones in their lives, from going to college to getting married, settling into a new home to having a baby. CEO Sue Gov said in a company statement, quote, we deeply appreciate our associates, customers, partners, and communities we serve, and we remain steadfastly determined to serve them throughout this process. We will continue working diligently to maximize value for the benefit of all stakeholders. In terms of possible failure, this isn't a quote anymore, by early this year, the company issued a going concern statement warning that management had substantial doubt that the firm could remain in business without a restructuring or asset sale. However, Bed Bath & Beyond enjoyed several brief double-digit percentage rallies since then, thanks to the meme stalkers, right? As some speculators bet that the firm could survive, and several meme rallies took hold. Seems like, too, every time, they go and declare bankruptcy, people are like, oh, this is the time, right? It's time for us to pour meme money into Bed Bath & Beyond. At the end of the day, it is completely speculative, right? Might work, cool. Might not work. At the end of the day, I know one thing 100% for sure, it is not, and that is a sustainable investing strategy, right? I sit here and I see people like, oh, I've done technical analysis on Bed Bath & Beyond, and I've done this and I've done. It's like, listen, put that effort toward real stocks. Put it toward real stocks. Put it toward something that would actually put food on the table over and over and over again. You can't keep betting on companies that are literally going into bankruptcy to make your money work for you. Like, that just doesn't make sense. It's like you going and you don't have the ability to go get food, so you trust your cousin who, might not be in the best mental health state, or they might be on drugs. You don't know, right? They've got some stuff going on, though, and you love them. But are you going to trust them to go out and put food on the table for you? No. So why do you trust this company that you couldn't trust to do things the right way the first time around, right? They wouldn't be facing bankruptcy issues if they did things the right way. Stop choosing entities that don't do things the right way in order to bring money back for you, right? It's super, super important. Like, what did they do to get themselves in this arena in the first place? Companies live and companies die. It's like animals, natural selection, right? People think because you're publicly traded, oh, this company's going to come back. No, companies fail. They blow up and they go out of business. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm talking to you. Companies fail. Some of them never come back, right? And that's just how it is. So there is no, oh, this company is down so low when it comes back. It does not have to, right? It does not have to. Companies live, companies die. That's very, very important to recognize. There are billion-dollar companies that fall on the sword for other companies to come scoop up their assets on the cheap and then become huge companies. Tons of companies were Amazon before Amazon was Amazon. Amazon went, grabbed up all the resources from those dead companies that fertilized the soil, and then they became one of the most viable companies in the world, right? But not every company is going to be the company. And Bed Bath & Beyond is a dying company, so don't put all of your investment acumen behind Bed Bath & Beyond. Let's see here now. What's next? BBBY share price, which topped $80 intraday in 2014, fell to as low as 23 cents earlier this month and is now down 40% to 18 cents in pre-market trading. Some remnants may survive, but they will likely be small and will leave common shareholders wiped out, writes investing group leaders Daniel Jones in Seeking Alpha article, The Last Nail in the Coffin. Now, in terms of tech earnings, so big tech is set to highlight a busy earnings week, especially given the sector's outsized influence on broader market gains so far in 2023. Which of the following stocks will be the biggest gainer in the session following earnings? So in terms of rankings, we got Alphabet that's up 18% year to date. Amazon is up 25% year to date. Apple up 32% year to date. Meta up 71% year to date because they got destroyed, and then they had some gaps to fill to the upside. And then Microsoft up 19% year to date. So we'll see which one of those ends up being the biggest gainers, right, or the biggest losers out of the companies that report in the next 2 weeks. In terms of economy here, playing with debt, an unprecedented dislocation between short treasury maturities is continuing as traders move cash away from the 3-month bill, which is likely to be most impacted by a debt ceiling fight in Washington. The spread was already the highest it's ever been, but the 3-month yield, US 3M, jumped 12 basis points to 5.23% overnight, while the 1-month yield rose 2 basis points to 3.36%, bringing the spread to 187 basis points. Lower than expected tax revenue collections have brought forward expectations of when the U.S. could face a default question, though there's likely only a 2% that the U.S. defaults on its debt despite growing fear-mongering. Last week, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy introduced a bill that would raise the $31.4 trillion debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion, along with limiting federal spending, which would be enough to avert a default until at least April 2024. So this is just ongoing battles, about the debt and debt ceiling and all this stuff in Washington. It is what it is. I don't really put too much stock or pay too much attention to it, right? It's something that it's like, it doesn't directly really affect markets very much. They just need to get this crap figured out. So whenever I read stuff like this, like, all right, the 3-month bill and this and that, it's like, all right, man, you guys just get this stuff figured out. But I really haven't seen it have any type of like material effect in terms of price action in markets. It's just like at the end of the day, we got a ton of debt. We're going to have more debt. Is the debt ever going to be resolved? Probably not. So this is really all just Capitol Hill theatrics. In terms of our next sector here, financials, we got some serious outflows. Credit Suisse has revealed more details about what happened to the troubled bank before regulators worked out a deal for the institution to be swallowed by Swiss rival UBS. Worries of a global banking crisis saw the lender suffer $68.6 billion of asset outflows in the first quarter, according to its Q1 earnings report. And while the outflows have since stabilized to much lower levels, they quote, had not yet reversed as of April 24th, 2023. In a weird string of banking math, Credit Suisse posted a one-off $14 billion profit for the quarter due to the $17 billion write-off of AT1 bonds in its controversial emergency rescue. Without it, the bank would have lost more than $2 billion. Rumor also has it that Santander, ticker SAN, is in talks to poach several of Credit Suisse's most senior investment bankers, as Seeking Alpha analyst Anna Sokolaidou cautions that the UBS merger, quote, is not without consequences. So what else is new? This is something we've been seeing across a number of banks, a bunch of outflows, right? People stop having faith in banks. Your banks, your bank is named in one of these headlines of, banks to worry about, and there's billions of dollars that people yank out of the bank because they don't trust it. And Credit Suisse, struggled with that. So is this banking issue over? I don't know, right? We have to wait and see if more banks end up, coming to light. But it kind of seems like one of those crypto type issues from last year where it's like every few months, another person comes forward like, hey, just want to let you guys know we're broke as a bank. So yeah, that's it. Bye. Right. It just seems like that might continue to be one of those things. Again, the big banks, I don't think will have any issues. But some of the smaller banks, right, might continue to struggle here. Now, let's see, in terms of our other headlines, stocks stuck in the mud, the S&P 500 and SPY, right, is more stuck in the mud than bulletproof, with countervailing fundamental forces split between positive and negative. Goldman Sachs head of global hedge fund trading said on the bank's new podcast. Tony Pasquarello outlines those forces and why the VIX has tumbled. Seeking Alpha's head of quant, Steve Kress, also dug into those issues on the Investing Experts podcast, as well as the chances of a soft landing and why Fastly, ticker FSLY, is one of his top 5 picks for earnings season. So this is just, Seeking Alpha, I guess, pumping some of their media that they have out there. In terms of today's markets, it was a mixed bag, mostly red. It looks like now that's changed a bit. We're looking to open either flat or like slightly green from where we were on Friday. We'll see, right, based on open, kind of what we get. But it looks like when this newsletter came out, we were red, and we're just kind of continuously seeing this switch overnight, where it's like, oh, we're headed lower, then we're headed higher, right? So we'll see kind of what ends up happening here once we open, but those kind of values that they have listed here are no longer relevant, so I won't even take the time to read them out. Though we do still have Bitcoin falling now back at like 27K or something like that. In terms of kind of where we are in opening this week in markets, right? We were in that channel, that ascending channel that eventually broke, paid us to the upside, paid us to the downside. Now we've got, kind of this descending channel, that had formed up, and we're pretty much just straight chop city, chop suey. So we'll see, what we get here today. If we do end up running to the upside, we'll run into, major resistance at like 413.30, 413.28 on SPY. If we end up falling at open and we remain beneath like this 411.80 area, right, on the hourly, then we'll likely drop, right? But if we remain between roughly 412, if we remain above that 412 level, then we can see 413.33 on SPY. If we remain beneath that 412, like 411.80 area, then we can, sell back down and see roughly 409.65. But overall, we spent last week legitimately just chopping, right? We spent last week chopping it up. And we'll see what we end up getting this week, right? If earnings ends up, pulling anything out of the hat that makes us, either break out to the upside or break out to the downside. But at the end of the day, this chop pretty grueling, right? So we'd rather one or the other happen, but just give us something to shake up the day, right? I want to feel something, quote unquote. So what else is happening? We'll wrap up here with our rapid fire bullet point rundown. IPO comeback, J&J, ticker J&J, launch roadshow for consumer health unit. Deeper dive, what is behind biotech M&A resurgence? NBC Universal, CEO departs after inappropriate relationship. Again, what else is new? Boston Beer, ticker SAM, unlikely takeover target for Heineken. EPA said to propose restrictions on power plant greenhouse gases. Ad controversy, Bud Light, ticker BUD, marketing exec takes leave of absence. We've been talking about and following that whole episode there. Is Tesla preparing to ship cars to North America from China? C3 AI, ticker AI, slips after being cut to underperform at Wolf Research. Again, all the hype that goes along with AI related tickers will die, right? The real ones will be exposed as real. The fake ones will be exposed as fake. C3 AI ran up because it was associated with AI. And now people are recognizing like, okay, the hype is kind of dying, right? And what's happening? Are you guys producing anything? No. All right, the stop drops. TV usage drops again, but cable gets a basketball bounce. And then our last one here, Apple said to be working on app for mental and physical health. Again, healthcare is the huge frontier, right? That is the next huge data farm. It has been the next huge data farm for a while. Big tech wants nothing more than to dive into all of the data that goes on within our bodies. So that's mental health, physical health, etc. And Apple looking to make its continued foray into there. They already have the Apple Watch. They already have that little Apple Health app that comes on your phone automatically. So Apple looking to go even deeper, right? Even deeper into our data, even deeper into our heads. But we'll see kind of what ends up happening with that, what that app looks like, the functionality. Could be cool. Who knows? At the end of the day, if somebody wants your data nowadays, they're going to get it. That's just how I feel about it. So just make sure that you got all your stuff, your stuff covered. You don't have anything else out there that somebody should worry about. And that's really all you can do. But speaking of all you can do, you did a lot this morning by tuning in and getting the layout for this week in terms of the market movement that we could get. We've got important earnings happening Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? We get important market data, right? Economic data Thursday, Friday. So there's a number of things, right, happening this week. The market can chop with uncertainty until it gets some certainty from these big tech companies. Make sure that you're aware of all the earnings that happen so that you're not swinging anything that you wouldn't risk right into the next day. And other than that, excited to get in here and dominate markets. If you got anything valuable from this session, make sure you show love to the accounts, right? The Instagram Reels, the YouTube Shorts, all that good stuff. Show love, like, comment, share, save, all that great stuff so I can continue to bring this amazing content for free, right, each and every day so that you are always learning. That is my goal. I'm not trying to milk every cent out of you. Otherwise, I would make those reels only available to subscribers, right, which Instagram has the ability for me to do, right? I'd make these sessions only available to subscribers, right, people who pay to subscribe to this channel, which YouTube has the ability for me to do. Same thing with Instagram, right? I don't do that, right? I don't do that because I want to bring you guys as much free content as possible. So all I do is ask that you show love in return, right? Because it's content that does cost me, but I'm happy to bring it to you free because the old adage, you're blessed to be a blessing, right? So just bless me by working those thumbs, showing some support, and I'm happy to continue bringing that content to you. Other than that, everybody, make sure you have an amazing day. Congratulations and pat yourself on the back because you did get 1% better. And let's have a great day in markets, right? I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.